Welcome once again to our online class. My today's topic is Merchant of Venice. Today I will explain Act 4 Scene 1, the first 6 pages of Act 4 Scene 1. First of all, I will explain the scene in brief and then I will discuss line by line. So let's start. Students, this is a famous trial scene in a Venetian court presided over by the Duke. Shylock, the cruel moneylender, here refuses to forego his claim to a pound of Antonio's place. Then enters Portia as a disguised lawyer with Nerissa. She also appeals to Psylocke to show mercy on Antonio. But here also Psylocke is unmoved. Then, like a witty lawyer, Portia declares that Psylocke is entitled to take only 1 pound of flesh from Antonio's body. Exact 1 pound, neither more nor less. He is not entitled to shed any blood. Psylocke is frustrated when Portia also declares that his own life and goods are forfeit. Ultimately, Psylocke is allowed to depart with half his goods for his lifetime and the other half kept in trust on condition that he becomes a Christian and bequeaths his possessions to Lorenzo and Jessica. Bassanio finally offers to reward the young lawyer, that is Portia. Portia asks for the ring. So this is the scene in brief. Now I am going to discuss the scene, the first 6 pages of Act 4 Scene 1 minutely. We are now in Venice, a court of justice. Enter the Duke, the merchants, Antonio, Bassanio, Greciano, Valerio and others of the court. Duke, what is Antonio here? Antonio, ready, so please your grace. Duke, I am sorry for thee. Here thee means you. Thou art come to answer a stony adversary. This line is very important, my dear students. Must underline it. An inhuman wretch, incapable of pity, void and empathy from any dream of mercy. Dram of mercy. So here in the speech, Duke tells Antonio that he is really very sorry for him. Antonio has come to defend himself against an adversary with a heart of stone. Here Duke refers Psylocke as a stony adversary. Stony adversary means adversary means opponent. Here Psylocke is described as stony adversary. His heart is as strong as stone. So the Duke, according to the Duke, Psylocke's heart is as hard as stone. He is really very sorry for Antonio, who has come to defend himself from this stony adversary, that is none other than Psylocke. He is an inhuman wretch who does not know what pity is, quite lacking in the slightest quality of mercy. Antonio, I have heard your grace hath taken great pains to qualify his rigorous course, but since he stands obdurate, and that no lawful means can carry me out of his envy's reach, I do oppose my patience to his fury, and am armed to suffer with a quietness of spirit the very utmost rage of his. So what Antonio says here? He has heard that the Duke has taken great pains to soften the severity of the proceedings, but since here remains obstinate and there are no lawful means of rescuing him from his malice, His malice means Shylock's malice. He's a, as I have already told, he is a stony adversary as far as the Duke is concerned. So he will meet his fight with the spirit of patience. He has braced himself to offer with a quiet spirit the utmost that is tyranny and rage can do. So Antonio told that he has accepted his fate. He knows it well that nothing can move Psylocke. Nothing can move Psylocke. He also thanked the Duke for appealing again and again to Psylocke to show mercy on him. But Antonio knows it better that Psylocke will not move an inch. Go on and call the Jew into the court. So the Duke orders someone to go and call the Jew, that is Psylocke. Now Valerio, he is ready at the door. He comes, my lord. Psylocke is already waiting at the door. Here he comes. Now Psylocke enters. Duke, make room and let him stand before our face. Psylocke, the world thinks, and I think so too, that thou but delayedst this passion of thy malice to the last hour of act, and then it is thought thou wilt show thy mercy and remorse more strange. That means, according to Duke is appealing to Psylocke that not only he, the whole world is thinking about him, that in its last stages that he will suddenly show mercy and repentance in a way even more unexpected and strange than this strange cruelty. So according to Duke, Psylocke will show mercy in a strange way, quite strange way, to the last hour of act, and then it's thought, thou wilt show thy mercy and remorse for strange than is thy strange apparent cruelty. So Duke is appealing to Psylocke that not only he, the whole world is thinking about him, that unexpectedly he will show mercy and repentance than this strange cruelty. Still the Duke is hoping that Psylocke will show mercy on Antonio. And where thou now exacts the penalty, which is a pound of this poor merchant's place, thou wilt not only lose the forfeiture, but touched with human gentleness and love, forgive a moiety of the principal. So here, according to Duke, Psylocke will leave the claim a pound of flesh from Antonio's body. He will not only agree to abandon this claim, but will act according to human gentleness and love. But forgive a moiety of the principal. What is the meaning of moiety of the principal? Moiety of the principal means a portion of the amount, that is 3,000 ducats. So Duke is very much hopeful that Psylocke will finally refuse the claim of taking 3,000 ducats. He will not only show mercy on Antonio, but also abandon the claim of the 3,000 ducats. Glancing an eye of pity on his losses, that have of late so huddled on his back, now to press a royal merchant down and pluck commiseration of his state from brassy bosoms and rough hearts of flint. So Duke is still appealing to Shylock that Antonio is going through a huge loss. When Psylocke looks sympathetically at the losses which have lately heaped on him so plentiful, they have been so severe as to ruin a merchant prince, and draw pity for his condition from bosoms hard as brass and rough stony hearts from uncultured Turks and Tartars who have never been schooled in the feelings of human kindness. A Jew will expect a gentle answer from you. So this is what Duke wants to say. Glancing, forgive a moiety of the principal, glancing an eye of pity on his losses that have of late so huddled on his back, enough to press a royal merchant down. Enough means enough. Forgive the moiety of the principal means forgo a portion of the original sum borrowed by Antonio. Enough means enough. And pluck commiseration. Pluck commiseration means draw pity of his state from brassy bosoms and rough hearts of flames. From stubborn Turks and Tartars never trained to offices of tender courtesy, we all expect a gentle answer, Duke. Duke here refers Turks and Tartars for the Asiatic races the Elizabethans believed to be uncultured. They are not accustomed of courtesy. They are not accustomed of human kindness. So, if you, according to Duke, he is appealing to Shylock that if he looks at the losses of Antonio, he will surely abandon the claim. From the heart, which is as stone as brass, as strong as stone, draws pity for Antonio. Everyone is eagerly waiting for Shylock. What will be his reply? Now Shylock, I have possessed your grace of what I purpose. My dear Lord, I have informed your grace of my intentions, and by our holy Sabbath, have I sworn to have the due and forfeit of my bond. What is Sabbath, my dear students? Sabbath is the Saturday, the seventh day of the Jewish week, the sacred day. The sacred day for the Jewish race. This is the Saturday, the seventh day of the Jewish week, the sacred day. This is Holy Sabbath. So what is Holy Sabbath? Holy Sabbath is a holy festival which is held on Saturday, the seventh day of the Jewish week, the sacred day for the Jewish race. So Shylock told that he has already informed of his intentions, and he has sworn an oath by the Sabbath, the holy festival of the Jews, that he will have the full penalty which is incurred by the failure to keep the contract. If you deny it, let the danger light upon your charter and your city's freedom. So he also tells to Duke that if he refuses him this, he will endanger the municipal charter and freedom of his city. This is what Shylock's reply. Everyone was eagerly waiting for Shylock's reply. Now Shylock told the Duke that he will have his full penalty. He has already cleared his intentions. He will not move. And by the name of Holy Sabbath, he has shown that he will have the full penalty. He also indirectly warns the Duke that if the Duke refuses the penalty, he will endanger the municipal charter and freedom of his city. You will ask me why I rather choose to have a weight of carrion flesh than to receive 3,000 ducats. I will not answer that, but say it's my humor. Is it answered? Psylocke, replies the Duke with a harsh tone. He tells the Duke that the Duke might ask him why he prefers to receive a quantity of dead flesh rather than 3,000 ducats. He will give no other answer to that except that he pleases, so he does. It was for his humor. For his pleasure, he wants to take 1 pound of flesh from Antonio's body. This is the reply of Shylock. Shylock clears it. Indirectly, he is saying that he wants to take revenge from Antonio. He pleases it, so he takes the decision of taking 1 pound of flesh from Antonio's body. Justify his decision of taking 1 pound of flesh from Antonio's body, Shylock now puts reason one after another. He asks the Duke, what if my house be troubled with rat, and I be pleased to give 10,000 ducats to have it been? What does it matter to any other person if his house is troubled by a rat and he chooses to spend 1,000 ducats to have it poisoned? What are you answered yet? Is that answer satisfactory? He asks the Duke. Some men there are love not a gaping pig, some that are mad if they behold a cat, and others when the bagpipe sings in the nose, cannot contain themselves for affection. Mistress of passion sways it to the mood of what it likes or loathes. Now, for your answer, as there is one firm reason to be rendered, why he cannot abide a gaping pig, why he a harmless necessary cat, why he a woolen bagpipe, but of force must yield to such inevitable shame as to often himself being offended. So can I give no reason? Nor I will not. More than a lodged hate and a certain loathing I bear Antonio that I follow thus, a losing suit against him. Are you answered? So through these lines, Shylock wants to say that what does it matter to any other person if his house is troubled with a rat and he chooses to spend 1,000 ducats to have it poisoned? There are certain men, according to Psylocke, there are certain men who have an aversion, hatred feeling. Aversion means hatred feeling towards a gaping pigs, open-mouthed pig, and others who fly into a passion at the sight of a cat. Fly into a passion means there are some persons who hate. There are some persons who hate gaping pig, open-mouthed pig. There are some persons who don't like cats. This is the example of will. A person's will directs him or her what will he like and what will he or she dislike. So this is what Shylock wants to clear through these lines, that there are certain men who have an aversion to a gaping pig and others who fly into a passion at the sight of a cat. Other people cannot maintain their usual balance of conduct when they hear the shrill notes of the bagpipe. According to Psylocke, personal inclination is the ruler of passion and inclines it towards liking or disliking. Shylock here wants to say that there is no definite reason to be rendered why one man cannot endure a gaping pig, why another man is enraged by a harmless cat, and another by the sounds of a wool-covered bagpipe. So he also cannot give any definite reason. He will not try to give one more than this, that he has a deeply rooted hatred and a definite loathing. Shylock makes it clear to the Duke that he has a hatred feelings towards Antonio, so he wants to take 1 pound of flesh from Antonio's body, which, as far as Shylock is concerned, a carrion flesh. Carrion means rotten. This is, according to Shylock, being a cruel moneylender, this is, according to Shylock, an unprofitable business. Still, he decides to take 1 pound of flesh from Antonio's body. Through his long speech, Shylock makes it clear that he, by taking the help of law and order, kills Antonio. My dear students, here Shylock is going to commit an illegal thing legally. Illegal thing legally. Killing a person, rather an innocent person, is an illegal thing. So here Shylock, by taking the help of law and order, he is going to commit that illegal thing legally. Bassanio's turn to reply Shylock. Bassanio: this is no answer, thou unfeeling man, to excuse the current of thy cruelty. According to Bassanio, this is not a satisfactory answer. It is actually Shylock's intention, Shylock's malice nature. Here Shylock tries his level best to excuse the cruelty of his actions. Shylock: I am not bound to please thee with my answers. Shylock replies Bassanio that he is under no obligation to make his answer to please him. Bassanio again: do all men kill the things they do not love? Bassanio asks Shylock, does it follow that a man has to kill anything that he does not like? If you do not like anything, will you kill? That is the question of Bassanio to Shylock. Shylock: hates any man the thing he would not kill? He asks Bassanio, is there any man who will not kill the thing that he truly hates? Now Bassanio replies, every offense is not a hate at first. According to Bassanio, every fault need not be turned at once into cause for hatred. Shylock: what wouldst thou have a serpent sting thee twice? Now Shylock again asks Bassanio, what would you give an enemy the chance to hurt you a second time? So, war of words is going on between Bassanio and Shylock. Bassanio asks Shylock, that if any person does not like another, will he kill that person? Then Shylock replies, will you give a second chance to your enemy to hurt you again? Now Antonio comes into the scene. He requests his dear friend Bassanio. Antonio, I pray you, think you, question with the Jew. Please do not try to argue with this man. According to Antonio, arguing with this man, Psylocke, is meaningless, as he will not listen to anyone. He is a cruel moneylender. He wants to kill Antonio, and at any cost, he will take his revenge. So, speaking to Psylocke, arguing with Psylocke is meaningless as far as Antonio is concerned. Not only Antonio, we the readers are also very much acquainted with the nature of Psylocke. Psylocke is a cruel moneylender. He is not going to listen to anyone, not even the Duke. You may as well go stand up on the beach and beat the main flood bait his usual height. You may as well use question with the wolf, why he hath made the ewe bleat for the lamb. You may as well forbid the mountain pines to wag their high tops and to make no noise, when they are threatened with the gusts of heaven. You may as well do anything most hard as seek to soften that than which what's harder, his Jew's heart. Therefore, I do beseech you, make no more offers, use no further means, but with all brief and plain conveniency, let me have judgment and the Jew his will. So Antonio urges Bassanio, do not try to argue with this man. He urges Bassanio that he might as well stand on the seashore and ask the tide not to rise so high as usual. He might as well ask the wolf why he made the mother sheep mourn for the lamb he devoured. He might as well forbid the pine trees on the mountains to wave their high tops and to make a noise when disturbed by the winds of heaven. He might as well attempt the hardest thing in the world rather than attempt a thing still harder, to soften the heart of a Jew, to soften the stony heart rather of a Jew like Psylocke. So through this speech, Antonio makes it clear that Bassanio should not argue with Psylocke, should not appeal to Psylocke for mercy. He will not listen to him. Rather, he may make appeal to the pine trees, to the seashore, or to the ferocious wolf and all other hardest things in the world. But it will be useless, meaningless to make any appeal to Psylocke for mercy. Psylocke's heart is as strong as stone. He is, after all, according to the Duke, a stony adversary. So he will not listen to him. Dear students, we have seen how Antonio requests his friend Bassanio not to argue with Shylock, the cruel moneylender. He is ready to surrender himself to his fate. Now Bassanio tells Shylock that he is going to offer double ducats. For thy 3,000 ducats, here is 6. So Bassanio now offers 6,000 ducats instead of 3,000 ducats to Shylock. Now Shylock replies, If every ducat in 6,000 ducats were in 6 parts, and every part a ducat, I would not draw them. I would have my bond. When Bassanio, in order to save his dear friend Antonio, offers Shylock 6,000 ducats, he instantly refuses the offer. This proves that Psylocke at any cost want to take revenge on Antonio. And he refuses the offer, says if every one of Bassanio's 6,000 ducats was divided into 6 and every part was a ducat, he would not accept them. He only wants the fulfillment of his bond, which he signed with Antonio. This clearly shows how cruel Psylocke is. Now Duke comes into the scene. He humbly asks Psylocke, how shalt thou hope for mercy, rendering none? Duke asks Psylocke, how shall you hope for God's mercy if you show no mercy yourself? Here we have seen that Psylocke is not going to show any mercy to Antonio. He already rejects the offer of taking 6,000 ducats from Bassanio. So Duke asks him, if you show no mercy to anyone, you will not get any mercy from the Almighty. Hearing Duke's question, Shylock replies the Duke, what judgment shall I dread, doing no wrong? I have not done anything wrong. So, what sentence can be passed on me when I have not done anything wrong? You have among you many a purchased slave, which like your asses and your dogs and mules, you use in abject and in slavish parts. He also told the Duke that you Christians, means the Duke, he has many slaves, which according to Psylocke he use in mean work, abject means degrading or mean work. Shall I say to you, let them be free, marry them to your heirs? Why sweat they under burdens? Let their beds be made as soft as yours, and let their palates be seasoned with such viands. If I ask you, Shylock is saying to Duke, if I ask you, give them comfortable bed, provide them rich food, marry them to your heirs, what would be your reply? Shylock is asking to the Duke, what will be your reply? My dear Lord, what will be your reply? Be seasoned with such viands means be treated with similar food as your own. Your reply will be, the slaves are ours, so do I answer you. You will reply me, they are our slaves, so they are our property. We will not pay any attention to your words. That will be your reply, my dear Lord. So I am answering you, the pound of flesh which I demand of him is dearly bought. It's mine, and I will have it. If you deny me, free upon your laws. There is no force in the decrees of Venice. I stand for judgment. Answer, shall I have it or not? So Shylock replies the Duke that I am not going to interfere in your matters. You have no right to interfere in my matter. Legally I am right. I am answering you that the pound of flesh I have bought from Antonio by signing the bond, so I will have it. I ask for the judgment. Please tell me that whether I am to have it or not. Here Shylock tells the Duke clearly that he is not going to ask anything about his slaves. He is not going to ask him to marry the slaves with their children, with his children, or give them rich food, provide them comfortable bed. If he questions, then the Duke will answer that the slaves are their slaves, their property. So Psylocke tells that my answer is also same. The pound of flesh I have bought, so the pound of flesh is now mine. I will not deny it. I will not move from my point. I will have it. Now I'm asking you, the Duke, that whether I will get my judgment. I'm asking for the judgment of the court. Let me have your answer as to whether I am to have it or not. There's a clear question Shylock has asked to the Duke. Duke tells that upon my power I may dismiss this court unless Valerio, a learned doctor whom I have sent for to determine this, come here today. So Duke says that on the strength of his authority he may adjourn. Dismiss means adjourn the court unless Valerio, a learned doctor of laws whom he has sent for to decide the case, arrive here today. Valerio, my lord, here stays without a messenger with letters from the doctor, new come from Padua. New come means come just now. New come means come just now. So Valerio tells, my lord, there is a messenger. A messenger is waiting from the doctor. The messenger is from the doctor waiting outside with letter, who has just arrived from Padua. So the messenger has come from Padua just now. Duke, bring us the letters, call the messenger. The Duke asks Valerio to call the messenger. Bassanio, good cheer, Antonio. What man courage yet? The Jew shall have my flesh, blood, bones, and all, ere thou shalt lose for me one drop of blood. Means Bassanio now encourages Antonio not to lose courage. Cheer up, Antonio. Come, man, have courage. Still, I shall allow the Jew to have all my flesh, blood on my account. So, my dear students, you all know that Bassanio and Antonio, they are bosom friends. They can die for each other. Now Bassanio offers his flesh, his blood to the cruel moneylender Shylock. He asks Antonio not to lose courage. Be hopeful. Antonio replies Bassanio, I am a tainted wether of the flock. Tainted wether. This line is very significant. Tainted wether. He considers himself a tainted wether of the flock. Means deceased ram. He considers himself a deceased ram, tainted wether of the flock. Meetest for death, the weakest kind of fruit. Meetest, best suited. Meetest means best suited. So Antonio considers himself a deceased ram. Tainted wether of the flock means deceased ram who is waiting for his death. The weakest kind of fruit. He considered himself the weakest fruit, falls soonest from the tree, and let this may be his fate. Drops earliest to the ground, and so let me. You cannot better be employed, Bassanio, than to live still and write mine epitaph. What is epitaph, my dear students? Epitaph means an inscription on a tombstone. Epitaph means an inscription on a tombstone. So Antonio urges Bassanio to live because after his death, it is Bassanio who will have to write epitaph. Right? Epitaph. Epitaph means inscription on a tombstone. And tainted weather of the flock means deceased ram meetest for death, means suited for death. He's eagerly waiting for his death because he knows it well that nothing can move Shylock. Now enter Nerissa, dressed like a lawyer's clerk. Duke. Came you from Padua, from Valerio? Are you coming from Padua? From Valerio? Nerissa. From both, my lord. Valerio greets your grace. Yes, from Padua and from Valerio. My lord, Valerio sends his greetings to you, grace. Nerissa gives a letter to the duke. Bassanio, why dost thou whet thy knife so earnestly? Whet means serpent. W-H-E-T, whet means serpent. Why dost thou whet thy knife so earnestly? Bassanio asks this question to Shylock. Shylock replies, to cut the forfeiture from that bankrupt there. He is sharpening his knife in order to cut off the pound of flesh which has been forfeited by this bankrupt. Here bankrupt refers to Antonio. It's Graciano's turn to appeal Shylock for mercy. Not on thy soul, but on thy soul, harsh Jew, thou makest thy knife keen. But no metal can, no, not the hangman's axe, bear half the keenness of thy sharp envy. Can no prayers pierce thee? According to Graciano, it is not on the soul. It is not on the soul of your shoe, but on your immortal soul, on Shylock's immortal soul, that he is sharpening his knife. According to Graciano, Shylock is nothing but a cruel Jew. No metal, according to Graciano, no metal, not even the knife of the hangman, could ever become so sharp as Shylock's malice. He's asking Shylock, can no prayers penetrate your heart? Can no prayers pierce thee? Means penetrate your heart. What do you think, my dear students? Can prayers penetrate the strong, cruel heart of Shylock? What I am thinking, I think your answer is also the same. No. No prayers, no appeal can penetrate the heart of Shylock. Shylock's heart, Shylock's soul is more sharp than a knife. He is a cruel Jew. Shylock, no, none that thou hast wit enough to make. No, you are clever enough to make. None that you are clever enough to make. That was Shylock's reply. Now Graciano becomes very angry with Shylock. He now angrily replies to Psylocke, O be thou damned inexorable dog, inexorable dog. Graciano considers Psylocke an inexorable dog. Inexorable dog means who cannot be insulted and cursed enough. Psylocke is a mean character, a cruel character. He cannot be cursed and insulted enough because he will not move an inch from his position. he is after all a stony adversary. Graciano previously tells Shylock that his soul is sharper than the hangman's knife. Now, here in his speech, he considers Shylock an inexorable dog. And for thy life, let justice be accused. According to Graciano, justice is to be blamed for the fact that it allows Shylock to live. Thou almost makes me waver in my faith to hold opinion with Pythagoras that souls of animals infuse themselves into the trunks of men. Now Graciano tells Shylock that his behavior almost makes him doubtful of the Christian faith and inclined to believe in the theory of Pythagoras, that the souls of animals sometimes enter the bodies of men. It was Pythagoras' theory, a Greek philosopher. He believed that souls of men and animals appeared several times on the earth, assuming different forms of life. The Icarus spirit governed a wolf who hanged for human slaughter. Shylock's vile spirit once, according to Graciano, inhabited the body of a wolf who was hanged for killing men. Even from the gallows did his fell soul flee, and whilst thou layest in thy unhallowed dam, infused itself in thee, for thy desires are wolfish, bloody, starved, and ravenous. Ravenous means hungry. According to Graciano, Shylock's spirit is wolfish. He thinks that even as the wolf was hanged on the gallows, his fierce soul sped away from him to where he was, still unborn in the body of his vile mother, and entered into him, for all his inclinations are wolf-like, bloody, starved, and ravenous. So according to Graciano, Shylock's spirit is wolfish in nature, bloody, starved, ravenous. Shylock is a cruel fellow. He, at any cost, wants to take revenge on Antonio. This proves that he is wolfish in nature. He is hungry to take revenge on Antonio. So Graciano, as far as I'm concerned, my dear students, is correct in saying that he is, after all, possessing a wolfish nature in him. Now it's Shylock's reply to Graciano. Till thou canst rail the seal from off my bond, thou but offendest thy lungs to speak so loud. Repair thy weight, good youth, or it will fall to cureless ruin. I stand here for love. Shylock says to Graciano, until he can speak words of abuse which will actually remove the legal seal from his agreement, he is only putting his lungs to useless labor in speaking like this. Try to cultivate, according to Shylock. Shylock is advising to Graciano to try to cultivate a more finished sense of humor, or it will break down altogether. He is there to claim the judgment of the law. According to Shylock, Graciano's shout is useless. He will not listen to anyone. He will not move an inch from his position. He will have his bond. He will have 1 pound of flesh from Antonio's body. So according to Shylock, Graciano's shouting is useless. He is there for judgment, and he will have the bond. He will have 1 pound of flesh from Antonio's body, that's for sure. He is not going to move from his decision. So here Psylocke's adamant nature is clearly visible, my dear students. He is adamant, he is cruel. Nothing can move him. He at any cost wants to kill Antonio by adopting legally illegal means. Legally illegal means. Now, Duke, this letter from Valerio doth commend a young and learned doctor to our court. Where is he? The letter which Nerissa gives to the Duke, by seeing the letter, he understands that Valerio, through this letter, recommends a young and learned lawyer to the court. Nerissa, he attendeth here hard by to know your answer, whether you will admit him. Nerissa says that the lawyer is present here, close at hand. He is waiting for Duke's permission to know whether the Duke will admit him or not. Duke, with all my heart, some 3 or 4 of you go give him courteous conduct to this place. Meantime, the court shall hear Valerio's letter. Duke orders his officers to go and conduct the lawyer there in the court in a courteous manner, and in the meantime he will have Valerio's letter read to the court. So my dear students, today's online class up to this. Stay tuned for our next class. In the next class, we will discuss how Portia saves Antonio from the clutches of cruel Psylocke. Thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, stay home, stay healthy. Thank you.